my process with them was very similar to a dating process. We took 4 weeks and we had different meetings. We had like about 3 or 4 meetings. And 2 were calls, 2 were in person. Yeah, I mean, during that timing, I was getting to go with some of their like they were placing me with certain clients. One of them was Janelle James, who's so awesome. It was
nice
to work with her. It was during, I think it was like season 3 or 4 of Abbott, and that was just so cool for me to like be like, literally they were like, okay, cool, are you available? Like they called me one night in the middle of the, it was like 11 p.m. and this is why I'm saying, artists, just be on your stuff. Like
keep that
I
clean.
My phone was across the room and I was just like, let me go check my phone really quick. So I heard it ding and they were like, are you available for Janelle in the morning? Blah, blah, blah. I was like, yes, what? And it was like, that was like my biggest, like that was the biggest client that I had gotten at the time. And so I was like ecstatic, and it literally was just like an alley-oop. Her artist wasn't available and she needed an artist.
It's always like that.
And I was just in the fold.
I've gotten so many opportunities like that. Like they didn't show up. Are you here? Like, can you do it?
Welcome to the Friends in Beauty podcast, a safe space for ambitious beauty industry creatives to have real talk, get authentic answers, and practical tools to grow their businesses. Join me every week as me and my special guest reveal the keys to longevity and success in the beauty industry, from the ups and downs of their journey to the nitty-gritty of their struggles and triumphs. We're spilling the tea on it all, and most importantly, having fun while doing it. You ready?
Hey, what's up? It's your best friend in beauty here, Aquia Robinson. Welcome back to another episode of the Friends in Beauty podcast. I am so happy to have you here, and I hope you're listening to this episode in high spirits and in good health. Now, on today's episode, I had the pleasure of having Bobbie Riley in the Friends in Beauty guest chair for the second time, y'all. So Bobbie is a makeup artist, a special effects artist, content creator, beauty educator, okay? Her extraordinary talent lies in creating captivating and transformative looks that exude elegance, creativity, and precision. Her work has been featured on BET, Disney, Stars, and Refinery 29, to name a few. And her work has recently been seen on Hulu's Dress My Tour and Netflix's Black Barbie. Sis has been busy, okay, since the last time we talked. And I can't wait to catch up with her. So welcome to the Friends of Beauty podcast, Bobbie.
Thank you. Hello, I'm so excited to be here. I'm really excited.
Girl, I was just telling you, I'm so excited to have you. And I've been having a lot of like second timers recently. So I'm so tickled to have you back so we could catch up, because you were on here episode 40.
Yeah.
And I'm like laughing because we're well into the 200s now. Like,
I know.
40.
Yeah. Listen, because I was like, let's go, girl. I'm down. Let's do this podcast.
Yes. So before we catch up, we're going to start off with some icebreakers, just in case people haven't gone back to that episode. You could totally go back to that episode and catch up. So first one is, give us 3 random facts about you.
Okay. I used to draw my cartoons when I was younger. That's what got me into art in general.
Okay.
My favorite food is pizza, like period. All the pizza. And what is another random fact about me? Recently I've been into freeze-dried Skittles, and I don't know, guys. I don't
Hold
know.
up. Are you putting us on to something? Freeze-dried Skittles?
Yes. So my guy, my man, he works at this, like, he's a contractor for this company, and one of the ladies that he works with has like her own, she's like an older lady, but she has like her own candy company, and she freeze dries different candies. And one time he brought home like a sample of like the stuff, and I tore up these Skittles. And now he brought me back this giant pack, and every night I will go in there and grab a couple.
Hold up. So what's it giving? Like the texture? Like, is it?
It's crunchy. So you know how Skittles are like kind of more chewy?
Yeah.
It's crunchy. So then it's like sweet, fruity, crunchy.
I need to try it.
This is very unhealthy.
It sounds intriguing. I'm intrigued. I want to try it now.
It is. You gotta find some. You gotta find some. I have to put it on my story and tag her because she's an independent, like has her own company. She's been like selling
Mhm.
at the local fairs, but she's not
Yeah.
like a huge company. But yeah, those Skittles, man, those Skittles. She does like other things too, gummy worms and stuff, but those
Uh-huh.
will
Those the ones. Okay. I love it.
yes.
What do people always tell you that you're good at aside from what you do professionally? Because you're the bomb.
People always tell me that I'm good at like organizing. Like and I can't attest to being like on my Marie Kondo. Like my house can be a little crazy. I'm an artist,
Uh-huh.
but I'm when I do organize, I color code. I like will buy like new little organizing things to put it in. And I'm really like that with my time schedule. So I do this thing every week around like Thursday. And I basically go through and I'll like review my calendar and then I do it at the top of my week too. So my Monday is usually like reviewing my calendar.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's all time blocked, it's color coded. Friends and beauties on there. So like
Yeah.
everything is on my calendar. If it's not on my calendar, I can't do it. I won't be there. It's just
Yeah.
it won't be happening because I'm very organized in that way. And then I love to make like lists and diagrams and spreadsheets for things. So that's yeah, that would be me outside of people know
Do
that
you
I'm
do you put like time with family and stuff like that on your calendar too?
yes, I'm a little unstructured with that because usually it's me going home. So I'm in LA,
Mm-hmm.
but when I am going home, my sister is in Philly and then my mother is in Atlanta. So when I'm going home, I just kind of I power down. I'm not really doing much of anything. That's my time to like sleep and just be with them. And so
Yeah.
yeah, I'm a little bit less structured at that point. I'll do it like take everything that I had on my calendar and just kind of start deleting stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And let my agents know like, hey, I won't be in town.
Yeah.
And then that's about it. Yeah, that's kind of how it goes when it comes to that.
All righty. All righty. When is the last time that you did something for the first time? Any new experiences lately?
Last time I did something for the first time. Oh my gosh. No. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't
Yeah.
have it. I
If you think
can't.
of something, come back
Okay.
and
Okay.
tell us
Yeah.
later.
I'm like lately I've been pretty repetitive with things. Like even like the trip that I took this year, I went to back to Hawaii. So I didn't like go anywhere new. I'm
Yeah.
trying to think like I took a sporadic trip to Vegas, and that was probably like one of the first times that I'd ever like been like we just woke up and he was like, "Let's go to Vegas," and I was like, "Okay," and we
Okay.
just went, and that was really fun. I'm not a gambler, so we didn't really do much,
Is that like a
but
45-minute flight? Like how far is that?
oh, it was a 4 hour drive. We
Oh,
drove.
drive. Oh, you
Yeah,
drove. Okay. That's like
yeah,
going from DC to New York. It's like a 4 hour.
yeah. It was
Yeah.
a little drive, but I've taken that drive a lot because my family used to live out there, but it wasn't sporadic. I would always really plan it. So I think
Mhm.
maybe that's the last time I did something.
Okay. I like that. I take that. I take that one. So what is a current mini win or highlight that you have for the year so far? So I always say like a mini win is like a milestone that's leading up to like a bigger goal. Do you have any mini wins this
For
year?
this year, 2024, this has been my first official year being signed to an agency.
Mm-hmm.
And it's almost been a straight year, but that kind of happened in 2023 because it happened July 2023 and it spanned to 2024 so far. I'm trying to think of something that is like a mini win. I think just having so many projects that I didn't know were gonna like come out to
Yeah.
streaming, like come out. Like I didn't know that Black Barbie was gonna end up going with Shondaland and Netflix, and that was really, really cool.
Uh-huh.
Um, I had another and then I mean I kind of expected for Adjust My Tour to go to Hulu because they had been talking about it.
Okay.
So I think yeah, I would just say just a lot of the things that projects I was working on behind the scenes, just like going to stream and that's
Yeah.
new for me because I'm not a union artist, but
Right.
I do get to work on some union projects and it's really cool to just see them come out and flourish and the people behind them like that worked so insanely hard,
Yeah.
just to see them like doing well and enjoying the fruits of their labor has been really awesome.
Yeah. So typically you wouldn't know when the project is going to be released.
Not when you're working in film. I mean, when in the union it's different because they already have everything slated usually. But if
Mm-hmm.
you're working on a non-union project, especially like a documentary,
Yeah.
we didn't know when we did that, we didn't know that it was going to be for Netflix. We didn't even know that Shonda was going to get involved in the project. They were hoping, they were just like hoping and praying like that it would go somewhere, and they
Yeah.
did the touring circuit of the festivals, and then they landed. But they had no idea. And so they were just doing it straight off of passion with their budget. And it's just really cool when you see it from like seed to plant. You're
Right.
like, wow, like it just makes you think differently about even the things that you do as an artist, that are like, okay, I need to like believe myself more. Like I need to start more like projects and
Yeah.
you know, kind of enter them into things and just start with that. And that really opened up my mind a lot, just to see it go from, we were just creating it and they were just like, we have these couple of days, we're going to do this. And they did it in such a small amount of time, but the production was so professional. It's one of the most professional productions I've worked on, non-union. And it was just, I mean, it's magical to have seen it like go from that 2 years ago to like fruition. But yeah, it's been 2 years. So we didn't know,
Wow.
until, I think until, when did she tell us? I think around maybe like January or February of this year is when I
Uh-huh.
found it was going to Netflix in Shondaland.
That
So
is so cool because I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of us makeup artists have stories of productions of work that we've done and never seen the light of day. So for it to go like 2 years, you're probably like, okay, well, we'll see what happens. But and then
yeah.
for it to land on Netflix, that is crazy. I love that
Yeah.
story.
It was doing really well in festival too. So I mean, I had high hopes for it, and I think I was just grateful to be a part of it at the
Yeah.
time. But for it to go from there to actually being on Netflix, I was just really so happy for them because they put their heart and soul into it. I mean, yes, as makeup artists, like we do put our heart into projects, but it's kind of similar to when you have a job. Like it's not necessarily your dream of what you're creating.
Hmm.
Um, it can be a piece of your dream. Like, I mean, Black Barbie is essentially why I started doing what I was doing. So it was
Right.
very full circle,
Right.
but it wasn't like my vision of my dream. It was like literally me executing for their vision. So a lot of times that's like what the type of projects that we're working on.
Hmm.
So yeah, I mean, you put as much energy as you can behind it, but there's not. But they were putting like literally, it was their vision. It was
Blood, sweat, and tears.
yeah, and
Yeah.
just see Black women doing well and flourishing
Yes.
and making stuff happen is really cool.
I
It's really
love that. Okay, okay. So last one for the icebreakers, because this is like we already into the comments. I love this. So
you're like
um
now I need to get into this.
I'm ready to talk. So
Yeah.
if you were a makeup artist, is there anything else you could see yourself doing right now?
If I wasn't a makeup artist, I would definitely be some type of wellness provider, whether it was like a therapist or a yoga instructor
Ooh.
or a meditation instructor, something in the wellness community. I've been so into my wellness bag lately, and I just know like that's definitely where I would be at this point. I probably would have like first started at corporate and then been like, just so drained from corporate that I went into a wellness field and then
Right.
just started like blowing up. That's my other life if I wasn't a makeup artist.
Yes, I love all of that. Wellness. I love meditation, yoga, all of those things. That's totally my vibe.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, cool. So I was just remembering, I know I said earlier, episode 40. It was actually like December 2020 that that episode came out, and we're already in 2024, about to be like a whole 4 years later. Sis is 30 years old now. Like, you already been 30 yet? So we were talking
I
about
was
aches and
not.
pains and stuff. I was like, wait till you turn 30. You think it's something now.
Yep.
Wait till you turn 30. You've been staying busy. She got a boo that she been showing on Instagram. I've been following you. I've been following you.
Yes,
Catch
yeah.
us up. What's been going on? Like, I guess the condensed version, because I know
Okay.
one thing that we did talk about last time was the agency. You weren't with an agency, now you have an
I
agency.
wasn't with an
Catch us
agency.
up, like real quick.
Okay, so start. Well, I will say that as a 30-year-old, I do feel like my body is working better because I'm taking more intentional time to stretch, to work
Ooh,
out
you
every
gotta
week.
stretch.
Yeah, to work out every week. My diet's better. So, I
Hmm.
mean, yes, there are some times I do have carpal tunnel in my right hand. And I did get into a car accident and it messed with like my left shoulder.
Hmm.
But other than that, I really don't have a lot of aches and pains, and I don't deal with some of those things that I used to maybe in my career.
Yeah.
I also think that in that time, it was a very like it was kind of not a great time for me. I mean, 2020 was right after the pandemic. And I think like these last couple of years of my 20s, I was really growing. Like I was really like
Yeah.
people think that your 20s, oh, like your 20s is so great because you could just kind of like, float around, do whatever. My 20s was not like that. My
Uh-huh.
family is completely across the earth from me. Like they're on the other side of America. So I couldn't even like, I couldn't really lean on them during the pandemic. It was just me.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I had like a very bad roommate experience at the time. And I was just really not in the best place, but I was still very hopeful. Like I think that um the being in LA just like makes you feel like, the things that you want to put out there into the world can be just a little bit more possible. Even though
Hmm.
there are so many qualms, like there are so many things that like are not the best things that I love in life being in
Yeah.
LA. But there's so much that's possible for you in LA. But I think through that time, through my last years of my 20s, I learned so much about life, about relationship, about career, about
Hmm.
like, how to handle myself. And I actually feel like I've started to step into like the master section of like my craft. And a lot of things were happening. I got some really cool celebrity clients.
Yeah.
They were awesome. I learned so much traveling with a Gail Bean, with like just different like people that Jerry Johnson, like some really cool black, amazingly talented women that I got the opportunity to just like work with,
Yeah.
work with the companies that they were working with at the time. And I was just on the road. Like I didn't have anything tying me down. I didn't have my man. I didn't have like just like anything that was like holding me. I have a new nephew now. Like I didn't have any of that. So I was just kind of like I was a free bird. Like I wasn't really thinking about family and settling down and like I wanted those things, but those
Yeah.
things weren't happening for me. So I was just like, you know what? Like I'm going to take every single opportunity. I'm going to say yes to everything. And what I realized from saying yes to everything was you can't say yes to everything. You know
Mm.
what I mean? And not because everything doesn't seem like a good opportunity, but everything is not like for you. Like
Yeah.
everything is not a part of your purpose. And so sometimes when you say yes to things and like in your spirit and like your spirit's tired or your body's tired or whatever, like you're not going to perform your best.
Yeah.
And there were those times for me. Those were those tests and those trials where like I genuinely wasn't okay. And I wasn't saying that. I was just like, I gotta go get this money. Like I gotta go and I
Was it like
gotta
a little
hustle
burnout, a little bit like
content.
burnout out?
You said, yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. And that's really what it was. I was just doing a lot of like flailing in the wind and taking everything, doing everything and thinking I needed to be everywhere and really just not taking care of me and listening to my body. And I
Yeah.
also was just in a position where, I mean, I grew up just following completely, like being completely in my parents' control. Like they had our schedule for us. They
Mhm.
had everything lined up for us. So I didn't really get to make the decisions of what I was going to do and what I wasn't going to do, which is normal. I mean, normal for
Normal
kids.
child stuff.
Black families. I know normal child stuff, but no, also normal black families. Like you're gonna do what I tell you to do.
Yeah.
Like, and getting to the place where I'm like actually an adult. I'm living out on my own. I'm in LA. Like my sisters aren't here anymore. I used to live with my sisters, and like no one's around me to be able to be that soundboard.
Mm-hmm.
I silenced myself a lot. Like I silenced myself. I wasn't being honest with myself. Therefore, I wasn't able to be honest with other people. And it translated. And though my heart has always been in a good position, um, those things translated and they manifested in a lot of ways. Like,
Yeah.
just like losing friendships and um
Did it
even just
manifest in your work in any way?
huh?
Did it manifest in your work in any way?
Yeah. Yeah,
Mm.
because I mean, like, essentially you're so close to people when you're working with them. You're close up to them, and then like they can feel your energy. And so, my clients would feel that I was always like in a rush, that I wasn't in like I wasn't in my best shape or mood or like whatever the case was going on. And I mean, I never was like shitty to them, excuse my
Yeah.
language, but like, it translates, even if you're keeping it in and you're really not, being frank with your clients, which is like for me, growing up in the industry, it was kind of like it was all about the client. And I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't necessarily used to like creating these really close relationships with my clients where I was like, hey, I'm not good, but I do
Mm.
need to make money. So I do
Yeah.
want to go, but I just want to let you know, like, I'm not good. Or
Right.
these things that I have an issue with that, like, we're also going through, or maybe ways that we're butting heads, or like, these are my boundaries. And this is the way that I work. And I wasn't so honest about that because I was in survival mode. So
Yeah.
I wasn't able to
Take that
be
risk.
show up fully. Yeah, I wasn't able to show up fully as an artist.
Mm-hmm.
And um it translated on my work, it translated in my friendships, it translated in my family relationships. And yeah, and like when I was with my family, I just was like kind of half there, and it just wasn't a good time for me at the end of
Mm-hmm.
my 20s. And I tried to stick it out, but I was here by myself, and I didn't really have like that source of like family to always go to. I had to like travel to my family all the time, and
Mm-hmm.
then make sacrifices to not travel to them because a work thing came up, and a work thing came up. And it's like, everybody was like, girl, you're busy, you're doing the things. And it's like, I'm busy and I'm doing the things, but I'm not living a life that speaks to my values.
And you're not doing the things for you, the things that you personally need to sustain
Yeah,
yourself.
exactly.
Because people
Exactly.
do that to me too. Like, you busy? My cousin literally just texted me the other day. She invited me somewhere, but then she had to postpone it. So she was like, I'll just text you. She said something like, because I know you're busy doing like the president's makeup and all of that stuff. So I'll just text you. I was like, people just, I don't know, the whole busy thing. People do that to me a lot. Or
Yeah.
sometimes they just like exclude me from the things
Yeah.
altogether. The perception. Like, I do have things to do, but I'm not constantly like just busy all the time. I got stuff to do.
Yeah. And I think because I just wasn't so vocal about my boundaries, just kind of like how you're saying, like people just assumed a lot of things, and they assumed that I was busy. So then, yeah, it was causing like my friends to just kind of like exclude me from things. But
Hmm.
they didn't really know. It's just like, it's no, I might not be busy, but like I'm working out, or I'm learning some, I'm taking a master class. So I can't be on FaceTime with you for 3 hours. Like I just can't. I'm editing. I can't be on FaceTime
Yeah.
with you. If I am, you're gonna be annoyed because I'm not really gonna talk. Like
Like,
I'm
you're
gonna
not
be
fully present.
exactly. I'm not going to be present. And then like, I mean, my life has changed a lot as far as like going out. Like I don't do that. I don't go out. I'm sorry. Like I just don't.
Yeah.
And that,
Yeah.
to each his own. But like, yes, I go to brand events because I want to make relationships with brands. And I go to like different, industry things because I want to
Mm,
make those relationships. But I am not the going out type of gal. I'm not. I'm just
yeah.
not. I don't have fun like going to the club. I don't like to drink like that. Like, so for me, it's just not really a fun thing to do. And I
Hmm.
think that people may have misconstrued that and thought like, oh, Bobbie's not fun, like, or Bobbie's just gonna work and like whatever. And I do want to be invited. Like I do want to be invited. And there will be times where I'm just like, my body's telling me I'm tired,
Hmm.
or just like I literally would be coming straight from set. And those days are crazy. Like nobody really understands like
Yeah.
how set days feel. on
Mm-hmm.
your body, unless you're in the industry, which like my
Right.
industry is like, girl, we understand. Like, we'll see you another time. But like my friends that are not, they don't really understand like the tolls that it takes on you and the energy that it takes from you, even when
Mm-hmm.
you're glamming goes, because you're giving people your energy. Like I
Yep.
charge up at the beginning of the day, I do my meditation, I do my prayer. Sometimes I get a chance to like do my reading, and then I am giving that energy to my
Yeah.
client.
Yeah.
Then I come home and I'm completely drained out. So like I know on my days that I've just taken 2, 3 clients, I'm not going to be coming home and doing a bunch of different stuff. Like I'm not going to be coming home doing backflips.
Yeah, no. Today drained me. Okay, I need a moment. So how did you get yourself out of that rut of just feeling just separated, not present, things spilling over into personal life and business? How did you get yourself out of that space?
It's crazy because I just had a friend of mine ask me about that because I like posted, I was just like, girl, book the trip. Like that's like what I was posting on my story, something along those lines. Um, and that's what's made me really big actually in artist recovery. And I'm like building a program for like artist recovery right now because it's just really not something that we like talk about. So for me, how I started was I think I took a large trip in the middle of like I could have worked, but
Uh-huh.
I wanted to take this trip. And after I took that trip, I think that marked for me being like, I'm just going to take every trip. Like, I'm going to just take whatever trip comes up or that I think of that I want to do. If
Uh-huh.
there's something on my calendar presently, I'm not on hold for anything. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to go. Like, I'm not going to hold myself back. And then that kind of led to more, I think because we all have these times, I'm sure you can relate as a makeup artist where like you'll go through a really large stint of work and then you're not
Mhm.
doing
Be
like the next
dry as I don't know what.
you dry. And people don't know that because they just see us constantly like posting our work, right? But
Right.
we do have those times where we're not working. And when I wasn't working, I started taking care of my body. I started working out. I started doing Pilates. I started taking walks. I started like dating. Because I
Yeah,
was like,
right. That
I'm
part.
not gonna be, I'm like, I have mentors that are my seniors and they're single, and
Hmm.
not to shade them or not to shade anyone who's single in the makeup industry, but I realize why is because we don't take the time to date really,
Right.
and we don't have the time for people to be messing with our energy and stuff, so we
Right.
have to be very particular about the people that we date. And so I started taking myself on dates. I started reading books about dating because I was like, I'm clearly not nailing this. You know, everybody, we grow up with our daddy issues and our mommy issues and all these kinds of things. And yes, I was in therapy, but I was just like, I'm still not nailing this. Like, therapy is
Yeah.
healing me, but it's not healing my dating processes. And so I had my life coach was like kind of my dating coach. She was like, all right, if you really want to meet a man, if you really want to be serious about this, I was like, cool, I'm gonna help you, but you got to listen to me. And everything that I'm saying might sound a little crazy to you because
Uh-huh.
you're probably not used to dating like this. So I was doing that. Started reading a lot of dating books, started taking myself out on dates and
Okay.
dating and just dating, like literally just getting out there into the wild, putting myself out there
Into
and
the wild indeed.
yeah, get into
It's ghetto
anybody
out
watching
there.
this. I'm
I'm
right.
so happy for you that you snagged somebody because,
Thank you.
oh gosh, yeah.
But it's only been a year. So yeah, in this time until I turned 30, I was doing a lot of that and I was messing up. And I know that like a lot of my friends in that time, I have an entire new friend group. It's really crazy. But
Wow.
a lot of my friends in that time were seeing me fall and seeing me fail in so many different ways. And I think they were just like, she's a hot mess. Like, I don't want to be friends with her.
Oh no.
But you know, like I was just failing forward. Like I was just like, I'm not gonna stay in this little pocket of Bobbie that's really miserable. I'm going to fight my way through it, and it's gonna look ugly. It looked
Yeah.
ugly to me. But you know, I feel like also if somebody does is not willing to see you through those times, then they aren't worthy of being seeing you at your absolute best. And right now I'm like at my absolute best and I feel really good and I'm able to work through things and I'm able to talk through things and a lot of that came from the time that I was feeling super bad in those last 3-4 years since we talked. So yeah, a lot of it was just like I was taking the time that I had, the extra time that I had, and I was booking them trips, and I was just being really mindful. I was meditating every day, and I was just searching. Like I would take classes on makeup, on
Uh-huh.
marketing, on this, on that, and I still am like that to this day. Like I was just getting my feet completely submerged in everything I felt like I needed to know,
Mm-hmm.
and just running forward. Even like some of the things that I was coming up with and the ideas and the inventions I was coming up with are things that were like, Bobbie, what were you trying to do? Like, you know what I mean? Like even my university, it was just all just things I was just putting out there, putting out there, putting out there. And I was just doing it. Like I was just like, whether it was a mess or whatever, the only way you can learn is if you fail forward and you're willing to look ugly for that moment. You're willing to look however you look to other people
Right.
in that moment and just not caring and just having to be like, you know what, like this is how it is. This is my life. This is, this is what I'm going through, and
Yeah.
I have to live in it. I have to be
Yeah,
solid for myself.
absolutely. So when it comes to dating, do you prefer to date somebody that's outside of the industry or like in the industry, like a photographer, a videographer, another like have you done both before?
I did both. Yeah. When I was in my dating process, I did both. I dated people that were in the industry, and I dated people that were out of the industry. I felt that it's harder to date people in the industry because we tend to be so indoctrinated by all of the stereotypes of things being a certain way, and just giving so much of yourself in the beginning. So they weren't as open to me not doing that. Like, you
Mm-hmm.
can't come in my house and we're not sleeping together. You know what I'm saying? Like certain things that I was not giving up when I was dating. It was like normal to guys that weren't in the industry, but the guys that were in the
Right.
industry, they were like, are you kidding? Like, they
Yeah,
not
you
that they
would
were like
expect
necessarily
that?
pressuring me, but they
Yeah.
just didn't have much respect for it because guys in the industry are exposed to a lot of women that just want to be with them
Right.
because of who they are.
Right.
And so, I mean, I don't care who you are. Like, that's
Like,
not
do
why
you know who I am?
hard. But it's just like, like I wasn't caught up on that. So I dated in the industry. I dated out of the industry. My guy is in the industry. He's an
Mhm.
actor and he's a writer and director. Um,
Okay.
but he just had completely different values, and he was so
Mhm.
respectful through our dating process of like, I didn't let him come up to my house. Like when we were first starting to date, even if we went on a date near my house, like I was like, I will go upstairs and get my jacket. I'll be back. And he would literally stand in the lobby.
I
Like
know that's right.
I was like, we're when in our dating process also, like we had a lot of phone calls. We got to know each other,
Yeah.
um, or we, crossed lines, and I was very, 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 very clear with my boundaries and what I wanted. And I wasn't just so giving of my heart. I
Mm,
wasn't like telling him I liked him. I wasn't like saying all these things.
yeah.
And I was just really like dry. Like
Did
I
your
was just
did your life coach tell you to play it like cool like that? Is that like how she told you
Yeah.
to play it?
Yes, but she was saying it more not necessarily as a game of like playing a certain way, but more so because a lot of times in relationships early on, we give our heart. Like we will sit there and be very expressive about our feelings,
Right.
emojis, all that stuff. And it's like then when it doesn't work out, we're so sad and and I gave him this and I did this for him and I was this way and I was this way. And I learned through my own actions that
Mhm.
you can't give so much to people in the beginning, especially as a woman. You have to, if you feel like you genuinely are like the prize and someone to date, then you have to be able to just sit back on your throne and let this man come to you. And
Mhm.
also not telling him what it is that you want. Like not commanding these dudes around because you're used to being like a boss and you're right. And I was so used to being like a boss and an independent woman and all the things. But I did not once tell Isaiah, that's his name. I didn't tell Isaiah like how to be with me or
Yeah.
where to take me or anything and our first dates were like horrible. They weren't that great, like, because he didn't know where, but he just was bringing offerings to the throne. You
I
know what I'm
love
saying? Like,
that. Oh
that's how
yeah.
you have to, but if you don't allow a man to step up and just trust like where it's gonna go and just be like, you know what, if this person's supposed to be my person, he's gonna be my person. There is
Yeah.
nothing that I can do about it. There's nothing I can do to change it. Or he's not gonna be my person, like whatever. And I just trusted the process and I didn't do a thing. I did not plan a date when
And
we were in
that's right.
our dating process. I did not treat him to anything. I did not pay for anything. And he wasn't doing as well as he's doing now, but I didn't have to do any of those things because he genuinely just wanted to make the effort. And he was like, okay, this girl is not,
Don't we love that?
yeah,
Don't we love when they make the effort?
and he didn't think I liked him because I just was like, I was not giving him any of my emotions. And that's what I mean is like, you can't just openly give, even in friendships, you can't just give people your emotions. You have to take time to get to know them and vet them and make sure that this person is who they say they are.
Yeah. Yeah. When it comes to relationships, this last relationship, then we go get off of this. Because I know people don't want to talk about relationships all the time, but since you are so accomplished, like you have a lot of things under your belt as a makeup artist, a lot of things that you have done in the dating process, have you felt like maybe I shouldn't share too much of myself or like that I'm so popping because it might scare somebody off? Or do you feel like I'm gonna tell you everything that I am, and if it scares you off, you weren't meant to be here? Because I just feel like I've had the experience. I have my boo now, but I had the experience of like in dating and people come to my social media. Sometimes I wouldn't even give people my social media up until like later on because people paint their perception once they start scrolling. It's like they don't even want to have a conversation with you. They just want to go through your page and see like what you're about instead of having conversations to like learn who you are. And then they create like this perception in your head of like whatever because of all the things. They come to your page, they see she was on Netflix, she was on Hulu, she doing this celebrity, you know what I'm saying? Like, so how do you feel about that for other people who may be dating right now? Should they share everything of who they are or maybe like hold it
Like,
a little bit?
I think anything goes. I really think like if you want to know everything about the person and you want to vet this person, then you also have to be willing to be open to them vetting you as well. I don't think
Mhm.
there's anything wrong with that. I do think that there are people that are opportunistic and may just like cling to you because of who you are. My dating process this last time, my successful dating process was
Yeah.
very different. And now I did have dating processes where I didn't upfront disclose like this is my life, this is who my father is, like this is
Yeah.
like it's jarring. I mean, if you go to my page, it's like all of my work and a bit of my family, but you kind of get the gist. And so
Mhm.
when I was dating people that were completely out of my network, like when I did try online dating and stuff, no, I wasn't giving them like my social media right away because
Yeah.
I did want to get that chance to like that little extra vetting. But if I met somebody out in the wild, then yeah, I would trade social medias with him, with them. And like in this last time, me and Isaiah actually met 6 years ago, at Starbucks. Shout out.
Yeah.
And I was sitting down by myself and I was reading a book, and we did end up exchanging information. And we stayed friends on social media for a really long time. And he was doing his thing, I was doing my thing, and we just like followed each other. We didn't really like, we weren't like active, like we weren't
Yeah.
like choosing
Commenting,
each other based
liking.
on, yeah, we weren't like choosing each other or flirting based on who we were in the world. Um, and so I think that with the right person, there isn't any wrong moves, but I do think like as far as like giving so much of yourself and like the emotional exchange and the
Mhm.
physical exchange has to be a little controlled at first. But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I think that there were some points where I think that's operating in your ego a little bit because you're like, oh, I'm so like famous or whatever, like for you, like, you know what I'm saying? Or like, I don't
Yeah.
want to know who I am. It's like, I mean, I like, you're gonna know if you're gonna know. You're gonna be able to look up my name
Yeah.
and be able to like, there's not that many girls named Bobbie in LA. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I mean, if they're gonna look it up, then they're gonna look it up. And I just have to like roll with it. And I think that if somebody is willing to just see it through and see that you're what type of person you are, they
Mhm.
will know. Like I did have a guy that I dated just before I met Isaiah, and he was like, "You're nothing like your social media. I had no idea that you would be, so down to earth and,
Mhm.
like that you like things that are more simple, or, like you're not super like luxurious and I don't have to take you on yacht excursions." You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and I mean, okay, I mean, that's your perception, but I don't think that I'm like so caught up in who I am in social media that I'm like, you can't know who I am. Like, it's
Yeah.
just, and it's too hard. It's just too hard to hide everything. Like, it's
It
really
is
is.
this
Like, I
day and
said, my
time.
last name is Riley. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're literally able to Google me. So
Yeah.
if you Google me and that's what you choose to do, then just, it is what it is.
It is what it is, honey. Yes. I did want to ask you too, because I remember when we last talked, we were just talking about all the amazing opportunities that you've gotten as a makeup artist, and you were not agency represented at all. You're like, God is my agent, and I love that. Okay.
And still
But it
is. And
still
still is.
is.
And I love my agency. I love my agency family exclusive. But God is still coming
Yeah.
through with the opportunities for me. And I love that for me.
I would love to know, like, what's the difference in the work that you've seen, if any, with being agency represented versus not, and just like why you chose to get an agency now.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you asked me that, because I'm also developing some courses on that as well, of
Great.
just like how I maneuver with my agency and how it came about. So
Hmm.
I will share a little bit of it, and then obviously I'll leave the rest for the class.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was on a project, and it was for stars, and it was not for any of my personal clients, but it was just, they had asked me to come and do touch-ups for like some press panel. And so I was like, all right, cool. So when I was there, I was just like setting up, I was greeting everyone. Um, I was greeting the people from Stars that had hired me, and we were talking a bit. And then I was greeting the other makeup artist that was on there. Her name is Blondie, and we are still dear friends today, but we met on this. And this was like maybe a year and a half ago. It's just so crazy. But yeah, and yeah, so I met her and we just started talking, and she has like this really endearing accent, and she makes really cool content too. So if you end up finding her, she's Blondie Wood on Instagram.
Okay.
But she has like a really endearing accent. So we were just talking. I was like, girl, where are you from? And like we really got into like some good conversation. And she was like, what's your social media? Like, I love your setup. I love the way that you like present yourself as an artist. Like, what's your
Yeah.
social media? So she goes on my social media and she's like, are you signed? And I was like, no, I'm not. And she was like, I'm with, exclusive, and I do know the head of that agency. I think you should submit. I'm
Yeah.
backing you. I'm supporting you. Whatever I can do to put in a good word for you, I will.
Yeah.
And it's just so crazy, because that's God. Like that,
Yes.
it was, I wasn't, I wanted an agent, and I told you that, like I wanted one, but then I was just kind of like, oh, whatever, like it's not happening for me. Like no one has approached me about it. So I was like, whatever, like I'm not even gonna do it. And I hadn't submitted myself for anything. I was just like, you know what? Like when I get to that point, if it gets like way too crazy,
Yeah.
which I was at the IPSY summit last year. I believe it was right before this time, like maybe like June or May maybe. And they were talking about, they had Ashcombe, who is like a really big makeup artist. If you guys don't know her, she does everybody. She does Kim Kardashian. She does so many people, so many people. I can't even like name all her. Right now she's doing Lindsay Lohan. Like she's a
Yes.
huge makeup artist. And so I was just happy to learn from her. But a lot of times when I'm in classes now, it's not because of technique, because I have my own technique that I've mastered. I've been a makeup artist for 14 years now.
Yeah.
But it is for like, how are you networking? How are you presenting yourself? How are you packaging yourself? I actually have a call with Miss Crystal Wright this week about
Ooh.
like, how to really like package yourself and walk into those rooms, negotiate those contracts like for A-list talent.
Yeah.
So I was very curious about how she did that. And this one girl asked, when is the proper timing to submit yourself to an agency? And that was the best question that was asked. And that was not the best question. There were so many good
It was the
questions.
question that you needed.
It was the question that I needed. And she said, you'll know when you need help. She's like, you'll know when you need help. She's like, when do you get assistance? When do you get like agent? She's like,
Mm,
you'll know. She was like, the time will just come. And I was like,
yeah.
cool, good to know.
And
And so after that, I was just like, I'll know when it's for me. And
yeah.
Exclusive was on my radar. Like they were one of the agencies that I was looking at here. There's Forward,
Mhm.
there's Wall,
Yeah.
there's Opus, and there's Exclusive. And those were the top 4 agencies that I was just like, yo, I'm following them. I'm in the like, I'm gonna see how they're posting. I'm gonna see how they're presenting themselves.
Yeah.
Their artists are presenting themselves. And so I would just like, I was obsessed. Like I was following the artists that were signed to them that I knew.
Mhm.
I was going to their websites, like, and Exclusive was one of them. And so when it came time, when it came down to it, and she said that to me, I was like, are you kidding?
Yes.
Like, this is on my top
I
4, like
love
on
that.
my top 5, top 3, whatever. I was just like, I would love to have a meeting with them. And so she kind of gave me a rundown of like the structure of like how to write your email or whatever. And so I wrote that email. I literally put all the IMD links from like all my clients and all this kind of stuff in it, and like wrote this really good email of, connectivity with the head of the agency. His name is
Yeah.
Darren, and he owns the agency. And I said I would love to have the opportunity to just at least sit down or hop on a call and chat. And but it's even just it's a pleasure to even just be able to submit to you. And
Yeah.
I've been following your agency for some time. And yeah, and then they called me. It was maybe like a week or so out from there.
Uh-huh.
And it was very similar to my process with them, was very similar to a dating process. We took 4 weeks, and we had different meetings. We had like about
Yes.
3 or 4 meetings. And 2 were calls, 2 were in person.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, I mean, during that timing, I was getting to go with some of their like they were placing me with certain clients. One of them was Janelle James, who's so awesome. It was
Nice.
work with her. It was during, I think it was like season 3 or 4 of Abbott. And that was just so cool for me to like be like, literally they were like, okay, cool. Are you available? Like they called me one night in the middle of the night. It was like 11 p.m. And this is why I'm saying, artists, just be on your stuff. Like
Keep
I
that
didn't even,
kit
my phone
clean.
was across the room. And I was just like, let me go check my phone really quick. So I heard it ding. And they were like, are you available for Janelle in the morning? Blah, blah, blah. I was like, yes, what? And it was like, that was like my biggest, like that was the biggest client that I had gotten at the time. And
Yeah.
so I was like ecstatic, and it literally was just like an alley-oop. Her artist wasn't available and she needed an artist.
It's always like that.
And I was just, and I was just in the fold.
I've gotten
And
so many
so
opportunities like that. Like they were or they didn't show up. Are you here? Like, can you do it?
exactly. And so I was just available and ready and willing. And it's crazy because I think I told you last time a story that my mentor taught me, about a very valuable story about time management
Hmm.
and being ready for the gig. And it was like my first time working with her, Dee Dee Kelly. And she set me
Okay.
straight. She was like, you need to be ready at all points to take any job. Like you need to be ready and available. Like if you want to do this, you need to. And this was like my first, not even my first year doing makeup. You guys, this
Yeah.
was like when I first started apprenticing. And she was like, you need to be ready. And so this was just like a full circle moment to that. I was just ready. Like
Yeah.
my kit was together. It was by the door. They said, are you available at 11? I said, yes. Hopped in the bed. Next thing you know, driving to her house. And so
Wow.
we had a good little run. They put me on a her, and then at the same time, Charity Lawson was the Bachelorette, and she was Black, and they
Hmm.
said that like most of my clientele was Black, and so they were just, that's all that they knew that I wanted at the time. And um they put me on her, and so I was on these 2 clients, and we're still in our dating process, right? We're
Yeah.
still calling, they're still seeing how I move and how I work.
They're like courting each other,
Recording, and the feedback from the clients is ultimately like, and that's why I will forever be grateful to Janelle. Janelle, if you decided to listen to this podcast randomly, not that
Hey
you would,
girl.
did, hey girl, and like thank you so much for the feedback that you gave my agents, and the feedback that Charity gave my agents is the very reason why they signed me.
Mm,
Because they were like, we love Bobbie, like yes, like Is she
Wow.
available for this? Like, and so I got to do some really cool things in that time, and in that time where they were courting me with these two clients, and that is ultimately helped make their decision to sign me. And so maybe a little bit before I went to Essence last year, they called me. It's July. They called me and they said, we would love to sign you. And I mean, my nerves were in, like, my stomach was just like bubbling, because, and I have butterflies, because I was like, I always wanted this, but then I was also nervous about somebody taking on my business and
Yeah.
what it looked like. And so we drafted up a contract that just really made sense. And it was, like, they still are allowing me to take my clients, and
Yeah.
that I wanted to bring to them to negotiate. And then also they were sending me clients. And so that
That's,
worked out perfectly for me. That's
yeah.
not every agency scenario, but that's what we worked out, because the first time that I had talked with Darren, the lead agent there, the first time I talked to him, I said, I have like a really strong clientele right now. I want to keep them in my hands.
Yeah.
Uh, I have spreadsheets. I kind of keep everything very organized. I'm very keen on communication. Like, I just came in strong out of the gate, and I just stood up and I knew what I wanted. And I was just like, I'm sure they were like, who is this girl? Like, this girl thinks she
She
is.
got it
But I was
together.
very much so like, I wanted to communicate to them that this girl has it together.
Mm-hmm.
This girl has she doesn't need, she's not sitting at a table that she doesn't need, like, that she can't get up from, right?
Right.
She can leave if she wants to, or she can go if she wants to. She clearly has a good work ethic because she has good relationships, right?
Yeah.
Like, certain things. And
And I guess it's great for them to know that that you're not like solely relying on them for your bread and butter. Like, you have other stuff going on and you're not just sitting
so
around waiting
today,
for the agency to get you some work.
exactly. And so today, I mean, it was down to, like, I was like, do you guys pay through LLCs? Because I eventually want to convert everything over to my LLCs. I just was learning that about business, and I just
Yeah.
filed an S election. Like, I was really, really, really into it. And then when I went in for, like, before my signing day, they were kind of, it was, I knew that there was going to be a trade-off. Like, I knew that it was like, I'm going to pay in some way. And
Yeah.
way was just that they were like, just cool it on your 706 dreams for a little bit. Like, cool it on the union dreams. Let's place you with some clients. Let's see how you like being a personal, because you can still get into 706 by being a
Right.
person. Like,
You
let's
sure
cool it down.
could, right?
They were like, let's
Ooh.
cool it down and reel it in for a second. He was like, because, like, once you start doing that, like, those are the jobs that you take, like, when you're kind of settled in and you have a family and you don't have the time to travel. He's like, but while you have no strings attached, he was like, I would recommend you staying open, being available to fly to a fashion week, or to do this or to do that. He was like, because
Yeah.
those opportunities will come up.
It will, because I know a lot of makeup artists who gotten, I think for like Ashunta, got into the union through Taraji, doing like Empire and stuff like that. So I know a few, like, that's the first person I thought about, but a few people that have gotten into the union by default from being somebody's personal.
Personal. Yeah. So they were just like, let's focus on breaking you as an artist. And by
Yeah,
breaking you as an artist doesn't mean breaking you, like, doesn't mean breaking you down, y'all. It means breaking you through, and, like, breaking you through that to that place where people just hear your name and they want to book you.
yeah,
Like Shinta Sheriff, or like a Sheikah, like,
yeah.
like a Sam Fine, like a Sir John.
Like a Bobbie Riley. Ooh.
And that's, yeah. And I mean, obviously, that those are all artists that I look up to so much,
Yeah.
so much, as far as, like, have paved the way for all of us Black artists to
Yes.
remotely experience success. Even Miss Crystal Wright, who I'm getting ready, I can't wait to meet her. And just, like, like, all of these people that have gone through the wire.
Yes, literally. Crystal was on the show recently, maybe like a month,
Yeah,
maybe like 2 months ago. I had her on the show.
that's
And
awesome.
a
Yeah.
couple of her mentees, I guess, that have come through her program that just speak so highly of her and the results that they have gotten even years ago. Like, they worked with her years ago, some more so recent, and they're still reaping the benefits of the lessons that that she taught them. And because she's still so hands-on, like she'll check in on them and like make sure they're doing what they're supposed to be doing type of vibe.
Oh yeah, and I mean, I've heard her name like through other Black and brown artists in the industry, and I'd followed her some time ago. And I was just recently I've been on this coaching and mentoring and classes kick. I mean,
Yeah.
even me and my man are like we have mentors and we are,
Mhm.
in counseling. And so I just know how much of a benefit it is to like have those people in your life. And I was like, all right, well, I'm on the market for like more of a business, in a business way. And so I have one client who's a C-suite, a corporate like coach and counselor. And
Nice.
she was like, all right, let's get you some sessions.
Okay.
Oh, you need to get in
I
here
like
and you
that.
need to plan your life, and like let's do this. Like I see you as a big brand. And then, as far as like makeup, I mean, it's just that is my bread and butter, and that it is a constant climb. And to any artist is like who's like in the crossroads of getting to that level where your name is a household name,
Yeah.
like don't think it doesn't take like ability. Don't think that it doesn't take multiple people being in your life and coaching you, and from all aspects. Like I have a life coach, I have a mentor, I have a therapist, I have multiple coaches who I seek in the industry. I have a masterclass membership,
Right.
and you know what I'm saying? And like I've taken different like 13-month courses.
You got to
And
stay plugged in.
you have to. I think that I'm glad that I decided to take classes now versus
Mhm.
because then it would have shaped my technique, but now it shapes how I move.
Yes, I love that you mentioned that, like the reason why your intention for going to classes has shifted from like the technique to really observing the person
Yeah.
and like how they're navigating their way through things. Like I love that perception.
Yeah, but well, and I say this because like I preach that because like your client ultimately is going to want something different than the next client, right? Not
Yeah.
everybody is going to want a smack beat. Not everybody is going to want soft glam. Not
Right.
everyone is going to want an editorial look, but not everybody is going to want creative. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, not everybody wants the same thing. So I would say it behooves you to learn as much technique as possible. I've learned so
Mhm.
much technique, whether it comes to I'm looking at YouTube University, or I've taken like 2 of Sir John's classes virtually, or like I've taken a class from Janessa
Yeah.
virtually and in person. Like I've taken different classes, 2 in person and 1 virtual. And
Mhm.
James Malloy, like just different people, and I've learned all of their techniques, and I've used actually all of their techniques. I don't have like a in this day and age, it's not back in the day, there was a Sam Fine look,
Yeah.
Sir John look, right? And you called those people for those specific things. And now there's, I mean, I don't feel like maybe there's that necessarily like a signature. Like I don't have
Yeah.
necessarily a signature look. I can give you whatever it is that you want. But that's why I say that it's great to learn technique from other people. Ultimately, you want to develop your own style. Like my style is more soft glam, and I do
Mhm.
colorful eye looks. So I know that those are my things that are like aesthetics to my style.
Yeah.
But when it comes to client, you're going to be doing whatever the client wants. So technique is great, but you need to learn how to move around in that room. You need to learn business skills. You need to
Yes.
learn how to market yourself online. You need to learn how, because those are the things that we're not taught in schools, in
Right.
makeup or in cosmetology school or anything really. And we're coming into a new age. Like we're coming into the age of technology, and not even just coming into this. We're
We're here. It's upon us.
it's not even upon us. We're in it.
Yes.
And so, us as makeup artists, we're having to do things that we've never had to do, like being a social media presence, like, and being a content creator and having podcasts, like your amazing podcasts, and making YouTubes, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And just doing all of these things that we didn't essentially have to do in the Sir Johns and the Sam Fines and the Ashanta Sheriffs and the Sheikah Dailies. They didn't have to do those things.
Yeah. But now they
Because
gotta learn if they
all
want to
about
stay relevant. It's like they have to
and
continue
now they're
to learn.
doing them.
Yeah.
And now you will see Jessie Smalls like doing, and I knew about her stuff. You will see Molly Magic. I knew about them
Yeah.
when social media wasn't as much of a thing, but they were, and when they came on social media, I was looking at them. Even Danessa, like everybody is having to post, if not on a daily basis, on a weekly basis.
Yeah.
And that's just where we're at. And so it just behooves us to take classes and coach and like hear from other people on it. And
That's so true.
I'm not the most consistent person. Like I'm not, on a soapbox about it because like I don't post every single day, but I feel like I understand like business strategy wise why I'm posting. And I think that that's the
Hmm.
part. So
Yeah.
yes, learning technique is essentially so important, and learning from other people on technique is important. I would spend $4,000 on a Priscilla Ono class,
Right.
um, on her technique master class. I think it's like a 4-day class or a week class. I would, but why would I do that? Because I want the relationship, right? Why would I do that? Because I want to learn how she moves around in the world
Yeah.
as an artist.
Hmm.
Uh, because that's really the game changer, because
Yeah.
that's what got her as a Fenty artist,
Exactly. I
right?
love that.
Yeah, so that's what I'm all about. I'm all about learning business skills now and
Hmm.
skills now, because a lot of our demise isn't from the fact that we're not talented. It's because we don't have the business sense and the knowledge and the mindset.
Hmm. Yeah, for sure. One thing that I feel like is so similar for our stories is like sometimes you just cannot make stuff up. Like sometimes you just cannot plan your way to everything. Just like how you happen to go to the shoot and the girl's like, "Oh my God, I love your style or whatever. Are you represented?" Then she happens to be represented by the artist. I mean, the agency that you had your eye on. Like I just feel like you can't make certain things up. And the fact that she was even so vocal enough to offer that to you. What I want to ask you about is this term of gatekeeping, because it's like a broken record at this point where people are like, and I literally just came across this post last week of this girl, and it like really broke my heart of just feeling like they're gatekeepers and she's not where she wants to be yet, and like all of these things. And I I don't know if it's my personality that I haven't recognized gatekeepers, or if I really just have not, that has not been my story, because similar to you, like I've come across so many people who've been so willing to help
Mhm.
me that I don't think I've ever recognized somebody like withholding information from me that could be like so beneficial to me to get to the next level. So I'm just wondering, like, do is the term gatekeeping still like, I know once upon a time, like if I talk to people like Danessa, she'll mention like, oh yeah, people used to be covering their products. So I can't remember who it was that told me used to cover their makeup products back in the day. So if it was another artist on set, you wouldn't be able to see what they were using because it was their belief that, this is what my client, like, you're not going to get the secret sauce to what my client is hiring me for. But now people are more willing to share. So I'm just like, where is this gatekeeping thing coming from? And do you think it's like a vibrational thing of like, if you feel like it's gatekeepers, you're going to attract gatekeepers. And if you don't, then you're going to attract people that's like willing. It's a loaded question, but like just the whole gatekeeping
Hmm.
vibe. I don't know. It's a lot.
Okay. It's twofold, and I hope that wherever this girl is, God bless her. But if she ends up
Oh yeah, I
listening to this,
sent her like a whole message because it spoke to me, and I like wrote like this long comment on her page, and Instagram was like, this comment is not
yeah, this
allowed."
is fake. Yeah, they've been doing that lately. I will write people longer
Like,
comments.
what? So I told her, I said, maybe this was just meant for you. I'm just gonna screenshot it and I'm gonna DM it to you because maybe it
Probably
was just
DM
meant
it
for you.
to, and then probably DM this to her too. So gatekeeping. I feel like with gatekeeping, it is it is what you think it is. Like if you think that most people are gatekeeping you and keeping you from things that you genuinely need, then that's what's going to gravitate to you. It's like if you say all men are trash. If you're
Yeah.
saying if you're going around being like all men are trash, that's what you're going to witness, men being trash. That's what's going to, whatever you are highlighting, whatever you focus on is what's going to grow. I can admit that there's been times in my artistry where I felt like the people that were supposed to be for me were against me, or they weren't looking out for me, or they would keep things from me, or even people that I knew in the industry wouldn't hire me, but I knew them. and they knew my skill.
Yeah.
And I am so grateful that the gates and the doors that were not supposed to open up for me didn't, because whatever reason that they didn't,
Mm-hmm.
I'm so much better off. I'm so much better off by not forcing those things. And I think that if you're thinking about somebody gatekeeping, don't force it, because maybe that wasn't your door. Maybe that wasn't your gate.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
wasn't your gate.
It's protection.
And it's not even, it's protection for you. It's not even them it's not even them holding it back from you. Like, there's been a lot of situations, I feel like, where maybe artists have even felt like that about me. But that's not the case for me. Like, I'm so open. I've referred so many people to my agency. I have, you know what I'm saying? Like, I am one of those people that will tell you word for word, this is what I did, this is how I
Mm-hmm.
got here. I have taken on so many pro bono coaching for
Right.
that, like, oh, my cousin's an artist and I know you, so can I give her your number, and can she talk to you, and can she tell you? And I've sitting here and taken Zooms with them, and I'm on FaceTime with them, and I'm encouraging them. I've had artists come to me before they made their move to LA and need a uplift and know if
Right.
it's a decision for them and all that kind of stuff. So I know that I'm not one of those people that's like necessarily gatekeeping. But I feel like whatever you feel is what's going to show up for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that once you take those limits off yourself and realize that what's for you will never miss you. There has never been a situation where I needed something and I didn't get it, that I needed it.
Yes.
And so when you think about those times, you realize that everything is like working in your favor and everything's working out for your good. So do I believe that gatekeeping happens? Maybe. But like, as far as like me getting further into where I'm supposed to be in the industry, the way that I'm supposed to be in there,
Yeah.
no. And I feel like I'm so thankful for the opportunities where my name wasn't spoken in the room, because then when it does happen and I do end up interacting with that specific like brand or whatever, it's
Mm-hmm.
organically that it was me, and I never have to go, you know what I'm saying? I don't have not necessarily this, oh, it's all me, but
Yeah.
it never has to be on somebody else, or somebody else did that for me and now I have to, like, you know what I mean? I
Feel
have
like
to go
indebted
out
into
my way and do
them.
something for them, or I'm forever indebted to them, or I
Yeah.
have to mention them in every speech and everything and every podcast that I do. No, because I genuinely position myself into these rooms. And I do feel that when you do work super duper hard and you get to a place, you can't take everybody with you. And I hope that younger artists and artists that are just coming into the industry understand what I'm saying when I say that. There are certain rooms that I had to work my way into and earn, because I would have messed it up if
Woo-wee.
my mentor would have put me in that room before I was ready. And so
Right.
just also realize that sometimes you're not ready to be in certain rooms. There are some rooms that I'm in today that I'm like, dang, maybe I wasn't so prepared to be in that room.
Mm-hmm.
But, I was in there for a reason. But just understand that, like, when even from the realm of now I am starting to mentor and to give advice to other artists. When I'm thinking of opportunities for artists and when I'm getting these opportunities that I get to staff artists for, I am thinking about the artists that are ready to be in those rooms and that
Yeah.
are going to be mature enough as an artist to handle and execute. And
Yes.
so if you may not be ready for those rooms that you're seeing that you're not put in.
Yeah.
I've been on set with artists and been like, your kit is absolutely terrible. I'm not going to refer you. And I would want an artist to do the same with me. I'm
Yeah.
not going to refer you to Halle Berry. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to refer you to a big person's team and your kit is this bag and all the foundations are thrown around in it. That's
Yeah.
not going to, I'm not going to do that. It doesn't matter if you have done whoever. Like, so for me, like, I also I am intentional about how I refer people. I'm intentional about the rooms that I put them in.
Yeah.
And you just have to trust that. You have to trust that process. You have to trust the people that you're working with. And a lot of times it's not them trying to sabotage you. It's them acting out of survival for their artistry and their connections and their network that they
They
built
built and spent
15
their,
plus,
yeah.
20 plus, 30 plus years. And that's for you to come into the game 3 years in and you're like, nobody's giving me opportunities. Baby, welcome to it. I was assisting for the first 5 years and still would take an assistant job if it behooved me, and if it was something that was like, this is a great opportunity. I need to go and shadow this. I
Yeah.
just somebody that Alex, I adore her, and I just assisted her for like something for Fenty last year because I was like, I want to get underneath this girl. She
And
knows
sometimes you don't even want the pressure. Like, yeah, I want to work for Fenty, but sometimes I don't want that pressure of it all being on me. Like, bring me in as an assistant. So if something does not go right, it's on
exactly.
them. It ain't on me.
Major artist, and I'm just here, and I'm soaking it up. And so those opportunities like that you have to like to soak up knowledge and not necessarily be the front runner and not necessarily be the person that they're referring, the big man in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Those are still opportunities that can really help you, but just know that it's a journey. It's a journey. You will have your highlight reel of your journey when you look back at it, but ultimately, no, it's not just like you blink and one day you're this celebrity artist and you're doing everybody in the industry. That's not
Yeah.
how Raquel got to where he is doing Beyonce.
Right. You
You know
know,
what I mean?
Raquel, you know him.
Huh? No,
So
I
he, I
don't
was
know.
about to
No,
say,
I
you gotta
don't know him
confirm my text
personally.
message.
No, I actually read his story and I read Patrick's story. So I do know Patrick because I worked with him previously. I wouldn't say we know each other,
Yeah.
but I know him. We worked on a project together. I was like doing Camila Cabello's dancers, and
Okay.
I met him. And I don't know Raquel personally, but I read both of their stories, and they're very similar. Of just like they were assistants, and they were, you know, what I'm saying, like they were in position, and they worked really really hard to get where they are. And so it's like, yeah, we see people at the top of their game and we just think like
He just
that
landed
it's so
there.
easy for them, and that whatever their ethnicity they are, that's why they're there, and like whatever, you know what I'm saying? And it's really not that. When you're an artist, you really have to put in the work to get to where you are, and you will mess up and you will have some things that like go wrong, and you know, whatever the case may be, but you have to put in a lot of sweat equity to get to the point where you're even booking constantly. Like,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? And no one's gonna hand that to you. My mentors didn't hand it to me, and no one's gonna hand it to you. It all came through me working incessantly hard to get
Yeah.
there.
Like, how
So
bad do you want it?
how bad do you want it? Nobody's gatekeeping. And if you do feel like people are gatekeeping, I just feel like don't get online and cry about it. Like go do something about it.
But my
There's
thing was like, go find your tribe. Like, if you're not, obviously you don't belong to community. Because I feel like
yeah.
if you belong to a community in some kind of way, you would not have those kind of feelings. So I'm like, you
And if
need to
you
find
do, you'll have
community.
somebody talk. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
Like that was like, girl, come over to the Friends and Beauty community because we don't play no gatekeeping over here. Like it's the total opposite. Everybody is just so supportive and so willing and forthcoming. And I'm like, obviously, you're not around the right people. So if you are getting that vibe, you just need to find your people.
Yeah, and follow people, follow other artists and DM them. Like slide in them DMs. There's so many artists that like when I was going through my process, I was like really, really, really trying to get into the union. And I was DMing all these artists. I was like literally crafting DMs specifically to them. And
Right.
they're now they're in my network. Now they see the work that I do. Now they DM me and like we
Right.
have a relationship. And so it's all about creating relationships too. Sometimes those relationships go nowhere, but sometimes people are just waiting in the seeing how you move, and then they decide like if they want to work with you. I've had people tell me like, I followed you online and I really just wanted to see how you moved,
Yeah.
and
I
I
wanted to see if you
that
was
made
gonna
me
be
want to.
consistent before I poured my time into you because that'd be a thing. I've had so many people like, okay, you help me. And I have such a big heart. I want to help everybody. But then when you sit back and you look at it, you be like, you're not even showing up for yourself. So how am I supposed to, how you expect me to show up for you? You can't even show up for yourself. So
Exactly, and that's and just like you're saying, that's how you know, you have to get to that point where now you have to create systems that if an artist is really hungry, like my classes or like certain things that I'm doing now, where it's like you're not going to just be able to just hey, my cousin wants to know this thing. Can I send her your number? She can take my class. Like she can read my book. Like she can, and that's where we have to get to as artists that are
Mhm.
like into the industry now, is like, if you're serious, you will find the knowledge. Like I'm serious, so I'm still getting coaching and classes, and I have 3 coaching sessions this week with
Yeah.
3 different like people. But it's like, yeah, like if you are serious about it, you will get to that point where
Yeah.
you
Yeah, for sure. You have to tell us real quick about the Dress My Tour, because I don't necessarily watch a lot of TV.
okay.
So I think I just saw a clip. I just happened to come across a clip the other day where this girl designed the dress for like Tony Braxton or something. And I was like, oh, I didn't even know this show existed. But then when I saw you at work, I was like, oh, okay. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
you have to
So
tell
Just
us
My
about
Tour
that.
was Just My Tour was a really cool project that I got to work on last August. And it's basically a competition show, very similar to a Project Runway timing wise, of like how long the designers get. But it's basically to promote young new designers that really want to get out there. And they entertain this competition where some different celebrities come in and they design the outfits that could be on their tour. And then the artists get to judge and critique. And then one person actually wins $100,000. And
Ooh,
um, you have to watch to find out who wins. But
yes.
it's very beautiful to see young fashion designers just go through their process, and they literally were not given that much time. Like we were there through the whole thing, which was really cool, is because they showed a lot of behind the scenes, so you get to see a little bit more of like crew and things that are actually kind of going on behind the scenes, and
Yeah.
someone injured. Like there's a lot of different like surprising things that happen, but you're getting to see like the process of their creating, and then also like kind of the process of behind the scenes of how everything goes and looks. And
Yeah.
because we kind of shot it all in one building, so it's
Nice.
like upstairs they were designing and doing all these things, and then downstairs we're getting the dancers ready. And so yeah, the I was a part of the makeup team, and we were doing the makeup for the dancers. And then I assisted my one of my makeup mentors, Ty Young, and I did Lorianne for like a day or two for
Oh,
like some
cool.
for yeah. So it was really cool. It was really fun. And I got some union days from it, which was cool. And yeah, I just got to like kind of soak up the set life, which is like where I essentially want to be more. And it was nice to just do another production. Like that was really
Yeah. What was it like working with Kim Kimble?
she's so awesome.
The
She's so
legend.
fun. She's literally every single day we were dancing, laughing, grooving, joking. Like her whole team was incredibly talented. Like shout out to all of them. If any of them end up hearing this, like her entire team was so talented.
Hmm.
Um, and it was such a treat to get to work like with her, like in her a part of not necessarily her department, but like adjacent to her department, because we were
Yeah.
all in the same room. Hair was on one side, makeup was on one side. So
Hmm.
we had to work in tandem look wise. And
Yeah.
so, Kim was like all in, and she was there. And it's really cool to have your department heads like right there with you, and like they're walking you through things.
Hmm.
Um, and just to be able to work with such a legend. Like she's awesome. She's so
Right.
awesome. She even gave us like some of her products from her line, and they're bomb. Like I'm still using them to this
Yes.
day. But ultimately, I learned just so much about just what it's like to have a department head that is genuinely fun and wants to create and cultivate such a great energy
Hmm.
within their team and on their work days. Like everyone was just so in sync and energized.
Yeah.
And it was really awesome. Like every person on her team, from the groomer to just even the assistants that were just like coming in some days, like
Hmm.
everybody, her mom came in one of the days. I was just like, yo, you are
Cute.
powerhouse. Like she's
Yes.
incredible. And so is Ty. Like Ty is the same. Like it was just really fun working with 2 department heads that were just bomb people and like kind and willing. Cause I've heard so many like horror stories. I've never experienced one, as
Oops.
far as the productions I've worked on, but I've heard so many horror stories in the 706 where like, the departments just weren't, good energy and certain people were mean
Yeah.
and whatever.
Yeah.
And that's not my experience at all, but I'm just grateful to have been around people that genuinely are like, they come, they set the mood, and you're ready to work under them. You're excited to work for them. And those are the best leaders. I feel like those are the best leaders. And I can't wait to see like what both of them, Ty and Kim. I mean, Kim's doing amazing things all the time, but like I just
Yeah.
can't wait to see like what movies that they do next and what films and what shows that they do next, because whatever show it is, they are giving the best energy and they're like, producing the best images.
Yes, you're on your way too. People are going to be saying, yes, Bobbie was the best department head and she brought me up under her wing. And this, and like, what have you thought about like your legacy, like what you want your legacy to be?
I've been in my pocket of just like wanting to give the person that sits in the chair the best experience, like client experience, artist recovery, wellness. I really am breaking into those spaces because I realize that those are the things that revived me and gave me like my third uh wind to keep going when I was just like, I don't know if I can keep doing this. And just really honing in on like what I wanted my clients to experience, professionalism and the business side of things and stuff. So I know that those things are a part of my legacy. I'm still putting it together. I'm kind of in the midst of like a rebrand myself, but I know that those are big pieces of me that is like, I want artists to walk away saying like, they feel better and they
Mhm.
feel like they recovered and they feel like they have their third wind or their second wind or whatever
Yeah.
wind you're on that after the third time of you saying and really almost meaning that you're quitting, you know what I mean? Like where you come back from. I definitely know that a piece of my purpose is definitely an artist recovery and
Yeah.
like helping people to realize, and even it spans from to hair people as well and actors and stylists, everything. Like take your breaks and take care of yourself
Mm.
because you're seeing your mentors and like everybody, they'll tell you like, I've had my mentors tell me about their relationships and about their body and about how they were feeling and about, certain things, and
Yeah.
have candidly shared with me. And I think that all of the highlights of that is really just artist recovery and taking care of yourself.
Absolutely.
I know that my
Absolutely.
legacy is in that. I feel like I'm still figuring it all out. I feel like I'm still getting to the level of really mastering every part of my craft. And I think that before you become like a leader in your field or kind of a household name, like you have to like master yourself and
Hmm.
master your client experience and all those things. So I feel like I'm just in that realm right now and just learning.
Yeah, I like that. Is there anything that's coming up next for you that you could share?
Um,
I know y'all be hush hush over there in
I
LA.
can share that because I've just been on a lot of really exciting press runs. So I'll plug my clients because they're just so cool. Number one, I'm on the Disney Descendants Rise of Red press tour, which is
Oh,
really
that is so
cool.
cool.
They're just like they're precious, and the movie's really cool, and Brandy and Rita Ora are in the movie.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just been really exciting and fun. So I'm kind of coming off the winds of that. And Lee Daniels has a film coming out called Deliverance. Everybody knows that by now. I'm on that press tour too. I'm doing Demi Singleton, and she plays one of like the main characters, and that's pretty cool. And she kind of told me like the movie's a little scary, y'all. So
Okay.
I can share that. And then there's another cool. So I have been working with the Wayans. They have a show coming out called Papa's House. They just made the announcement for it, so I can share that.
Okay.
Can't share when it's coming out because I don't think they've said that yet. But I've been working and doing some press with them, and that's been really exciting and cool. Anything personal that I have coming out? I mean, I'm developing new courses, um,
Hmm.
developing a book.
Yes.
I'm developing a podcast. It's not like your podcast. It's actually a little bit different, but another makeup artist friend of mine, we just realized that there were certain things that were in the industry that are just like very taboo topics to talk about.
Yes. Talk
And
about
so
it.
we are getting together and we are going to talk about all the things We are shaking the table. And this is a new thing for me because I
I'm
don't
so
like to talk
excited.
about these kinds of things because I'm like, I don't want to, I don't want to step on toes and I don't want people to feel offended or whatever. But there's a lot of things in our industry that really need to change. And I feel like it starts with us. And just like how you've done with Friends in Beauty, and you've made things feel more of a sense of community, and you've brought artists on and just shared different pieces of knowledge that needed to be shared. And they're upcoming artists. Some of them are upcoming artists. Some of them are artists that have exploded, like whatever, but you kind of talk to a range of everybody. And it really is helpful and it creates so much community. And I feel like there needs to be more of that. And if you're an
Yeah.
artist listening and you're just not sure, if there's an area that you're frustrated with, speak about it. Like speak about it, share about it. And so I'm kind of getting ready to start my rollout of sharing some of those things and just
Can't
really,
wait.
yeah, me neither. I really just want to help other artists, and I want to um create a sense of community and push things forward for makeup artists. I feel like so many industries are changing and moving forward, and we
Mhm.
aren't really making those shifts.
Yeah.
And we don't really have anything in place besides our union and agency to make those changes. And so I want to be a major part of that in a tasteful way. And yeah, so I'm collaborating with her. Her name is Jazz, and she's really cool. Her name is Jasmine, and she's really amazing. And she just has like she's very blunt, and she's very like, she will pierce the things that I won't say. I'm like, yeah, I know, Jazz. And she's like, no, because it's like this. And I love that. I love that because it's like she really balances me out by saying the things that need to be said. And she's so eloquent too with it. She's very intelligent. Jazz, if you listen.
I cannot wait to get all the tea.
We're very excited to do it because we're not bringing on, it's not going to be like a lot of other artists. We're going to bring on people from different career fields that speak on certain things that are happening, like, the net 30s and the net 60s and all this kind of stuff, and like
Girl,
50s things like
can we
that.
be done with the net 30s? Because I did the work today and I need my coins today because the bills is due today. Not yet.
So
What?
that was just a little sprinkle, but that's kind of the things that we're going to be talking about and exposing. And it's not necessarily going to fall on any specific company that we've worked with or whatever, but because our intention is not to offend, we're not activists, but we do want to share things that are meaningful to our community, and how we can be change agents. So that's one thing that I'm working on. I'm also applying for Sephora Squad.
Yay!
That opens up tomorrow. I mean, by the time that people listen to this
Really?
podcast, I'm sure
I
it'll
tried
be.
one time, girl, and I was
I
like,
tried one time too, and that's why I was like, do I want to do it? But I'm like, you know what? The time is now. There needs to be more of us, in these spaces as well, because it is a lot of influencers. And so I'm just going to do it, and I'm just going to throw it to the wall. There's so many other things that I'm doing. So, I mean, this isn't the only thing, but Sephora means a lot as far as like our careers go,
yeah,
and has meant a lot to me in my career. And so it would behoove me to just try again. So I am doing that. And yeah, I'm writing things. I'm redoing my website. I'm just kind of going through like a full rebrand. And then I
yeah.
have a broadcast channel. It's called The Beauties. And The Beauties is mostly wellness based. It has really turned into a wellness space. Uh,
Okay.
Not so much about me and what I'm doing, because a lot of them have turned into like email lists, and it's just like all about like what's going on in that community sense, but more so like fixing and going within, and that's a lot of what people have really been asking me about. And then I
Hmm.
have an email list that's coming out. It's the Beauties Digest, so it kind of came from the Beauties.
Uh-huh.
I was doing these newspapers inside of the Beauties, and they were voting on what I would talk about, and it was
That is
every
cool.
week. And then I was like, okay, this needs to turn into like a monthly thing. And so the Beauties actually don't know. I'm like kind of telling you before I tell you. It's kind of crazy. I know I'm gonna get eaten up, but I'm actually turning it into a monthly newsletter. And the Beauties Digest will be like a literally like action packed thing for like the specific month,
Yeah.
uh, end to end. And I'm really excited about that too. So yeah, I've just been doing a lot of working on my brand and where I want it to go, and what people are telling me that they want to see and what they want to hear from me, and working on myself, working on my life. And yeah.
It's exciting. I'm so excited for you because you like the smile that you have while you're talking about it too. Like it looks so fulfilling and like you're
It
really
is.
happy. So
That's the work. And that's another thing to touch on from the gatekeeping thing is like most of us at this point want to impact. We're in such a career
mhm.
field that's so vanity driven, that's so
Yes.
superficial that a lot of us now we really just want to have impact because impact is what creates greatness, not self success. Self success is only for you. The
Mhm.
success that we've had in our careers only has benefited us and has benefited obviously the artists and the talents that we've worked with. But when it comes to impact, that's when you start to get to that level of excellence and greatness. And that's where your wealth and your abundance really does genuinely come from, is when you're able to like impact other people on a
Yeah.
grand scale. So that's why I'm excited, is because I really want to impact more people and I'm just spreading myself out in
Yeah.
these ways that are like really healing me and really exciting for me. So yeah.
Yes. Impact. You hit it right on the nail right on the head. Well, before you go, I have to ask you the Friends of Beauty rapid fire questions. So
Okay.
whatever it comes to your mind first, you can just spit it out. Yes.
Okay.
Spit it.
All right.
So the first one is, what are the top 3 keys to your success so far?
Oh my gosh, that's so crazy. Woo. Uh, Contentedness. So like being content with what I have already and not
Mhm.
expecting more and not feeling that the world deserves me anymore. Um, Spending quality time with my family and my friends, it's made me so inspired. Like I get so inspired and fired up. And nurturing my inner child, like just doing things that I used to love to do, whether it's just a month or a moment or a morning where I get to like sketch or watch cartoons or like do something that nurtures my inner child. Those are the three things that have like really helped me the most.
I love that. How do you measure your success?
Now I measure my success in how many people that I'm able to help and
Mhm.
impact and
Yep.
see successful in their
Yep.
own careers.
Yes. What's the best advice you've ever received, or a piece of advice that's just like always stuck with you? Can't get it out your head.
I heard it. You are in my business, girl. I'm like, oh, what have I heard that I just like mm,
This one artist told me
people
recently,
won't
she said
remember?
somebody
No, go
told her,
ahead.
this one artist said, Molly told her, get them people their money back.
What? Oh,
Get them
give it.
people their money back, like a deposit, like get it, just give it back. Like it's not even worth the fuss. Just get them people their money back.
Really? Um, I think the advice that has stuck with me lately, because I want to talk from where I am now, was Miss Crystal, which led me to booking a session with her, is like sometimes you don't take the job for the money, you take the job for the endless opportunity that can come from it,
Mm-hmm.
not in an opportunistic type of way, but sometimes take that pay cut when it comes to your rate because you just want to be in the room and have and experience certain stuff. And I just did a really exciting job. I can't tell what it was, but I did like a really exciting job and I didn't know all the aspects of it before I got there. Um, but I took it and it was definitely a major like pay cut from my rate now, but I took it and I learned so much and I honestly felt so much better than I do when I charge like thousands and thousands of dollars sometimes because I knew that the value that I was bringing to the job was more than what I was, getting paid from the job.
Yeah, I
You
love
know.
that. Yeah. What advice would you give to another makeup artist right now who is just kind of stuck and struggling in their business and they're just like, this isn't working for me. I probably would just go back to corporate and just hang up, leave the brushes out to dry forever.
Hmm. If you're stuck and you're struggling, don't stay there. Don't stay in your struggle. And I don't feel like that's the time when you should give up on yourself. I feel like when you're ready to hang those brushes out to dry, it should be because you left it all on the court and on the field. And I don't feel like if you're in that space of struggle, you haven't left it all on the field. You haven't exercised every single option. You have not turned over every stone. You have not DM'd every makeup artist. You have not taken every class. You have not done everything that you can do. So don't be deceived by other people's highlight reels. Don't be deceived by seeing other people's portfolios and comparing your journey to theirs. You have no idea why they have what they have. Focus on you and focus on the areas where you're most frustrated, because that's probably where the most growth will come from. And that's probably where you'll end up teaching from somebody from later.
Ooh, I like that advice. Okay. What's a resource that helps you or has helped you in your business that you could share with the Friends in Beauty community?
Oh, yes. I love to talk about this. I love talking about Oprah's masterclass. Like,
Yeah.
I take these random, like, I will literally take like every random class. Oprah, I love you. You know, like one day we are going to meet. So what's up? But yeah,
I'm just waiting for my picture with Oprah. I feel like all my makeup artist friends have a picture with Oprah just from being in the room with her. I'm just waiting for my picture with Oprah.
I'm just waiting for my moment with her where I get to tell her, like, I have loved you for so long. I
Me
used to
too.
watch Oprah's show like with my mom, and I was like, once I got into she's still she's on my vision board now. Like my most recent one that I made for 2024, Oprah is on there. But I don't know if that's a symbol or like whatever, but masterclass. This is my second time renewing my membership. I've taken so many helpful classes. Chris Jenner has a class on marketing, social media marketing, and I thought that was really great. I've taken just so many different classes on there from different people. Usher has a songwriting class, like, and it's crazy because you don't think that just because it doesn't have to do with your industry directly, you
Yeah.
still learn from these people. Like the Duffer Brothers, they have a class and they talk about how they created Stranger Things. And I was just like, oh my gosh, like
How much
Stranger
is the membership?
It's so I have a dual membership. So me and Isaiah actually share our membership. So it's 180 for a dual membership, and we paid together.
Yeah.
And then for the singular membership, I think it's like 80 for the year or 90 for the year.
I want
It's
to check it
so worth
out.
it for the year. Like it's so
Yeah.
worth it. I actually felt like it was more worth it to do the family one, like where you could share it with somebody. Because then you guys can be accountability partners. But the classes are fairly so like sometimes I'll watch a class on the treadmill, or sometimes we'll like instead of Isaiah has been on his learning kick, and so have I, but he's really into it. Like he will be like, babe, instead of us watching TV, let's just watch master classes. So we just started watching what is his name? Oh, I can't think of his name right now. It's Shark Tank. I cannot think of this guy's
Damon
name.
John,
No,
the
the
other
other guy.
guy,
The other guy. Can't think of his
Mark
name right now.
Cuban.
Mark Cuban has a master
Yeah.
class. And so we just started watching his. And so like it's just like you get a chance to like sit down with it's like when they say you're the sum of the five closest people to you or whatever. And sometimes it's not people that you are actually with
Directly.
directly. But it's people that you let impact your life on a daily basis. Like for example, like I listen to On Purpose. I listen to Jay Shetty's podcast like on a almost daily basis, and I listen to Sean Bartlett's podcast on like a daily basis, and like just learning from them and hearing their perspectives has changed my perspective and has helped me to help other people and to be more humanizing and kind of outside of my ego. And so I just say that if you are really looking to grow and you really want to fast track that, oh, Sir John has a master class too. I forgot to say
Yeah.
that. And so does Bobbie Brown. And
On
so they
Oprah's thing?
huh?
On
Yeah.
Oprah's what?
Yes. So there are artists on there.
Wow.
Not that many. Not that many. I hope to one day make a master class. That would be really
That'd be
cool.
dope.
But yeah, like I've been learning so much from masterclass, and I would recommend it to anybody who is really trying to learn the lessons that they need to. There's even one on communication, like there's one on Black history. Because of the 1619 projects, they had like a whole thing. Like it's just beautiful. Ava DuVernay has one, and she's like, you're literally getting to watch her create origin.
What? That's
I
so
know
dope.
it's
Okay, I'm
crazy.
sold.
Girl, I feel like I need to be
You need
like
an
an
affiliate
affiliate.
link or something.
Now I need an affiliate. Now I need an affiliate link. But yeah, no, it's really helped me. I'm so about learning.
Yeah,
So yeah,
me
that's been
too.
like the most helpful resource for me lately.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. So the last one, I just want you to fill in the blank and just say, my name is blank. And the key to longevity and success is blank, like whatever you think it is.
Hmm. My name is Bobbie Riley, and the key to longevity and success is professionalism.
Ooh, professional. I don't think I've ever heard that one. Professionalism.
Mhm.
I like, and it makes some, it's like,
You
go
got
ahead
to be
and explain
professional.
that.
Got to, because that's your first impression, that's your last impression. And that was the other advice that I was going to say that has also stuck with me is people are going to forget what you said, but they're going to remember how you made them feel. And so
Mhm.
when it comes to professional settings, people will remember how professional you were, if you showed up on time, if you executed the job, if you were willing to be uh seen but not heard, and if
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying, and like if you were just willing to like buckle down and really do the things that you needed to do for the job, they will remember that over remembering what exactly you said when you were there.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Wow. Before you go, please share your social media, website, however you want people to continue to connect with you, follow your journey to wellness and taking over the beauty industry, like all of those things.
Okay, so my Instagram is Bobbie Riley Beauty. My TikTok is Bobbie R Beauty. My website is bobbierileybeauty.com, and you can actually join my personal channel on Instagram. It is called The Beauties, and my email list will be available very, very soon, but that's from my website. So if you are on my website, you can get to see that. And if you are an artist and you just have questions or whatever, like feel free to DM me until my resources come out. But then once my resources come out, babes, you better get them. And we're not doing this just DMing anymore. Hey,
You're gonna have to click the link in the bio, comment a word,
link in the bio.
comment ebook. Okay, if you want the ebook. Yes, thank you so much, Bobbie. This is a pleasure catching up with you. I feel like it's so much more that we could talk about, but then we'll be here like all day long. So I just had to send you my number so we could like continue our conversation.
Yeah, because we don't have you to
Yeah, I was like, yeah.
But yes, we should definitely talk, and I will let you know when I'm in the DC area.
Yes, please do. I'll talk to you soon.
Yes, I will talk to you.
Thanks for listening to the Friends in Beauty podcast. Don't forget, sharing is caring. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with another friend in beauty. Give it a thumbs up and subscribe, rate, and leave a 5-star review so that other friends in beauty can find the show. Plus, we'd love to hear your feedback. Connect with us on all social media platforms at Friends in Beauty, hashtag Friends in Beauty to join the conversation, and join our Friends in Beauty Facebook community to stay connected. Talk to you soon.